From the studios of NBC, your number one African TV station, welcome to the program Africa Today. My name is Ivy Henderson, and remember this program is every Saturday 8:30 p.m. and a repeat broadcast on Mondays at 10:30 a.m. Coming up in the headlines, Al-Shabaab strikes again, that is in Somalia. Then we'll move over to Nigeria, we'll talk about Boko Haram. We will spend more time talking about the amnesty, so-called amnesty. And Archbishop Desmond Tutu wins award. And on entertainment, Mona Lisa finds love second time round. And if you're worried about how to get peace in your life and some kind of tranquility, we will tell you how Charlie Boy does it. Thank you all for joining us on the program.
Thank you.
You're welcome. We'll start with Godwin. Godwin is black. It reminds me of the movie Men in Black. Maybe we'll talk about something. I don't know what you've got going on. But let's start with Al-Shabaab. You know, for like 3 months in a row, Mali, Somalia, they all coming out for the wrong reasons. Al-Shabaab strikes again. A lot of people just died.
Let me begin by saying that the very reasons why Al-Shabaab, the group is actually fighting for me is they've actually done everything on a very wrong footing. Let me say that. The reason I'm saying that is that they're a fundamentalist group basically, and fundamentalist groups, what they do basically is to do things in the extreme, and that is one of the reasons why they are doing this. One of the things that the African Union forces have been able to do successfully is that they've been able to push them from the central area of Somalia into the outskirts of Somalia. So it's not as powerful as it used to be. But then although it wasn't as powerful as it used to be, there are remnants still over there who are still powerful. And one of the things that I've said over time or every now and then is that when you look at a terrorist group, usually what happens is that although you might crush the leadership, there are remnants within the group that can still do certain things. So the argument in Somalia and within international politics is that the group has been decimated by sudden strikes and all that, but they're so powerful. Around. One of the reasons why I think this particular attack took place is what I see that as a sign of desperation, and they also want to be seen as a group that is still useful in geopolitical terms. Let me give an example. Within the leadership of Al-Shabaab itself, there's a division. So the deputy leader of the group is actually at loggerheads with the leader of the group. So what recently the deputy did was to write a letter to the leader of Al-Qaeda to report some of the divisions within the group.
Within the group.
Within the group. So based on that, it has become common knowledge and something which is pervasive that the group is actually decimating. So given the attention that they have received now, they wanted to distract divert attention from what is happening within the group, just so that people will know that, all right, we have problems, but the point is that take your attention off our problems and then focus on our strengths, which is one of the reasons why I think they are doing that. Now, but the point is that they've actually killed a number of people.
Yeah.
Two things happened. A bomb detonated, an individual actually went out there and did that. About 25 people died.
That's in the courthouse.
In the courthouse.
Yeah.
Secondly, a car actually also exploded and a number of people died. So it's a terrorist group, it's a fundamentalist group, and it's something that they're going to do every now and then. But what actually surprised me about this case is that it looks as if the government just talks. And although the government claims that it's in charge of security and is going to ensure security in the nation, as to how security was breached over there is something that surprised me.
To go to the courthouse.
So for me, the leadership of Somalia has lost the battle as far as this is concerned. And I really feel for the ordinary people in Somalia because it looks as if they're not being protected by the leadership.
No, for sure. Thanks, Godwin. This happened at the courthouse. And according to the Somali Interior Minister Abdi Karim Hussein Guled, he is saying 6 of the people who died were the suicide bombers. It is kind of hard to believe. That's according to a report that they will have 6 of their own folks to be there. No, I know they go to the extreme, but to have 6 people just to be part of it for them to die, I don't buy that.
I don't think so too, because information that I gathered indicate that there are 2 suicide bombers.
Right.
And those 2 are obviously, because right after it happened, the Al-Shabaab folks claimed they did it.
Right.
All right. So at best, I think just 2 people will have died from. But the thing is this: what can you do? How do you fight an individual who wants to suicide bomb you? You can win that fight.
That's a good question.
You understand what I'm saying? These guys went into the court and they're proud of it. They call them mujahideen or something like that in Islamic language. People that are ready, they believe that when they do that and they die, they're going to Al-Jannah, they are going to heaven. You can't.
There's nothing you
can fight that kind of person.
That person's mind.
And that is the albatross of Somalia and their supporters, including America. America, incidentally, was involved in training the Al-Shabaab. You see, the West generally, when they have an enemy and they can use a less enemy or a potential enemy to conquer that enemy, they empower that individual, and at the end of the day, that person will become it. It's the same thing that happened with Saddam Hussein. You remember? Saddam Hussein was American buddy. They trained him, they empowered him, and he became the albatross. The same thing happened to Noriega. I think his first name is Antonio or something. Noriega, the president of Panama, way back in the 80s. He was their buddy. But the moment a leader they equip, empower, becomes big enough and he wants to be his own man, he becomes their enemy because now he doesn't listen to them. And that's the same thing that has happened to Al-Shabaab. But the funny part of it, in my opinion, is this. No matter how many times they push Al-Shabaab into the mountains or wherever, they are not going to succeed, because you see, when you push people away, you don't really smoke them. When you smoke them, if for instance they go into the mountains and they are able to smoke them out, then you have done something. But when you push them away, you're kidding yourself, because they are going to go back and regroup and re-equip and strike. And then when they strike, and they are striking because there is an Abjudian or whatever who wants to kill himself or herself, there's nothing you can do about that.
There's nothing you can do. Godwin also brought up the issue of security. And it's like, so I know, like most courthouses you go to, they will screen you. Before you take off your shoes.
Where?
Most courthouses, like for instance, you take off your shoes, you go on with your socks, so if you're bare feet, that's fine with them too. Your purses, your backpack, everything. But Somalia, Africa, security, the importance of it, let's touch on that. Because if I'm going to go to the courthouse for a suicide bomber to come over for me to lose my life, people will be reluctant even to go there to do business.
Can I quickly?
Go ahead.
You know, when you're talking of, I appreciate that. It's true. I mean, it's careless of the system. But it's very fresh. Boston.
Oh, yeah. Very, very unfortunate.
Up till now, we don't even... Okay, now this evening they have a person of interest. The person of interest may turn out to be,
just an ordinary person minding their business. Yeah.
That's right. They still don't have anybody in custody. We are going to the 3rd day. So it can happen. But the thing is this. We're talking of a courthouse in Africa.
That's my point. This is, you know, the difference between that and the Boston issue is that this is a building we are talking about.
Yeah.
But Boston issue is an open area.
Yeah, so anyone can be there.
Even with that, security cameras have been able to capture some incidents of things that happened over.
They will catch this person. They will definitely at the end of the day. But in this situation, you see, when you're talking of Africa, the president or the military are not the ones that are watching over places like that.
Right.
They are individual Somali maybe military person or a court police or whatever.
Supposed to do
These
it.
people can compromise. You know, that bomb may not have even been planted during the court processes. It may have been done a day before, overnight, or whatever.
Right.
You understand what I'm saying? So the fact is this: an individual, okay, the one that happened that blew in a car, the person may have even driven through the system, and there's nothing you can do about that.
Yeah, but here's my point.
But let me give
ahead.
a
No,
little
go
credit
ahead.
to Somalia, the military there. For once, I can say kudos to the African Union, because indeed with what happened in Somalia recently that we're talking about, the African Union military, they call them peacekeepers. They're actually the one responsible, not the French, not the Americans. They are the one responsible for pushing these folks back to the mountains. And that is something that I think, one, we're giving credit to African Union, but they should do a lot more of that, rather than depend on France, depend on America, to help them do this.
Yeah, I was going to make a point which is generally about security. I think that, of course, it doesn't mean that we have to throw our arms up in the air. What we need to do is to invest in logistics, invest in security cameras, invest in some other high power, equipment that will be able to catch some of these petty issues. Let me tell you this: if you go to the airport over here, obviously, of course, there are some people who are able to still go through with that, but the majority of cases are kind of seen before they actually go through that. If you go to the presidential palace anywhere in Africa, you can't just go through like that. There are some security things that are put in place, and I think that there are some national assets like the courts, like some other areas that need these kinds of security. If they did that, I think this could have been addressed in a way.
It's rather unfortunate that's on Somalia.
Right.
Al-Shabaab striking at the country's top court in Mogadishu, and a lot of people have lost their lives. If we get any more news on that, we'll bring it on the next program. You're still on NBC, a #1 African TV station. The program is Africa Today. We're taking a short break. We'll be right back.